Hey, what's up? I'm Liz, the Split City DIY, and welcome to another episode of Prime Things I Learned This Week. This week's a bit of a mixed bag, but first up, some Windows 10 news. There is a new update out there, everyone, and it is KB3163018. Now, this update was released about 3 or 4 days ago at this point, and there's a couple problems. I would hold off installing if you have not updated yet. It can create an infinite loop upon trying to install. What it'll do is it'll say it didn't install, so try to do it again, and it'll say it couldn't install, so just keep trying to install it, and your computer basically just kind of loops and doesn't actually start up. If you manage to get it installed, it can mess up your OneDrive. One dude had all his files disappear, another person just couldn't link up to it, just nothing was happening, so that's rough. And then anything else too. One guy had like their startup button disappear. I'm sure that wonderful toolbar issue that I documented in the first episode of Prime Things I Learned This Week can pop up, so just avoid the update. I'm sure Microsoft will be pushing something out this week to fix it. They've been pretty good about it. What I like about Windows 10 though is when it tells you you have an update, you can go to your settings, see what the update's called. I recommend then quickly searching that update, see if there's a known issue, and then schedule an update in the future. You don't have to just have it happen right then, whereas Windows 7 will have that really awesome window go up like restart now. And so at least Windows 10 gives you kind of a choice there. Maybe not a choice whether to install the operating system, but there's a choice to install updates. So next up in the hacking community, there was another successful Power Glove hack. A dude was able to hack the infamous Nintendo Power Glove to control a quadcopter drone. This isn't the first time that someone's used the Power Glove to make a pretty cool hack. One of the most notorious ones was a couple years ago. A dude that animates for Robot Chicken on Cartoon Network hacked it so that he could control his various stop motion controls all from the glove, and that increased his productivity quite a bit. I'm curious at this point to find one if I can and try to hack something with it. I'm sure there could be some cool music projects you could do, and also I'm curious, I haven't done too much research on it, why it seems to be pretty easy to hack. So many people have been able to make really cool projects with it. And then kind of in the same vein of hacking and open source, Razer is working on and releasing an open source VR option for hardware. Essentially, it's a generic VR headset that comes with open source software so that programmers can create games with the platform, animators can create content, all things like that. And the idea is to make it a little bit more accessible so that people don't have to get the HTC Vive, they don't have to get the Oculus Rift, and it's about $200 to $300 cheaper than those other options, and it makes it compatible with everything. So they're trying to kind of change the game a bit and make VR components more like keyboards, mice. You can just kind of get whatever you need and use it more as a tool rather than making it an actual piece of hardware, almost like a console, which seemed to be what the Vive and Rift were doing. And in the world of PC gaming, I was surprised that that model was, that all the gamers were kind of going for it. With how PC gaming's always been kind of open, you can do whatever you want. So Razer is kind of trying to shift the tides a bit, and I'll be curious to see how that goes. And in the same topic of open source, SparkFun posted on Friday that they had this new product called the Pi Top, which is basically a laptop that you assembled yourself that would be powered off the Raspberry Pi, and it was geared towards programmers and open source enthusiasts to be able to basically hack with a laptop, and you can run either the included version of Raspberry Linux, or you can have a full Linux version or whatever you want. You could even program your own GUI, anything you want, and it came with Minecraft and all this stuff, and it was really cool looking. I was really into it until I saw the price, which was over $200. It was almost like buying the equivalent of like buying a Chromebook or like a cheap Dell laptop or something like that, and I was like, damn. Because you're not, and this is what I worry about with open source, you know, the VR headset is a good example of it, where yes, it's open source, but I feel like open source should also imply accessibility and people being able to kind of take it and make it their own, but easily. You know, what was cool about Arduino is that it was really cheap. You could get the basic Uno board for at most $20, and that's what also made it accessible for education, to be able to use it in public schools, to teach kids computer science. Raspberry Pi has always been a little bit more expensive, about $35, which may not sound like much, but it's those little increases, you know, and each version of the Raspberry Pi has gotten a little bit more expensive, a little bit more features, which are cool, but again, accessibility. Where's the accessibility to make it truly open source, to make this idea of open computing where anyone can code, anyone can hack, anyone can program, anyone can build something, that the DIY experience, and that I'd been noticing it a little bit over time. And then the Pi Top, it's not an extreme example, but just the idea that, oh, look at this cool thing, and they're kind of pushing it for beginners, and a beginner that's never coded before isn't necessarily going to want to drop like over $200 on something that they might not even like. And that was the thing, like, it made it seem, the cheap price points made it seem accessible, made it seem like something that was ascertainable. And I just worry, as we continue with the innovation of open source and DIY computing and electronics, that as it becomes more mainstream, it's gonna also become more consumer, make a buck kind of motivated. So that's something to keep an eye on. So this has been another episode of Prime Things I Learned this week. If you liked the video, toss me a like. If you hated it, toss me a thumbs down. Have a question, comment, concern, comment below. Find me on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram for all of your behind the scenes nonsense. And with that, this has been Blitz City DIY.